So health is wealth. Is that true though? Well, today I'm with Hatice, who is the owner of Transform with Hatty. Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So tell me, is it true? Is health wealth?
Of course. Of course health is wealth, right? But I think the problem is, do we actually practice it as much as we preach it? So health is 100% wealth. Without health, you can't achieve anything. So it all starts with how you look after yourself. If you want to build wealth, you have to start with health. So 100%.
I like that. And you know we're all about wealth on here.
Exactly.
Okay, so tell me, what are some of the excuses that you hear from female entrepreneurs as to why they can't keep fit or manage their diet and stuff like that? What are you hearing?
I'll keep it short because there's a lot. I don't think we've got enough time here today, but it's almost unlimited. The first one I would say is time. It always starts with time. I don't have enough time. I'm too busy with work, with kids, or I'm balancing a full-time job and a business at the same time. I just don't have the time, and I hear that so often. So I think number one is time. Number two is it's just the procrastination of like, I'll get to it. And the excuse is more like, oh, I know it's important, but this is more important right now. Because it's almost like they don't see how putting their health off for the future is going to actually affect them one day today, because they're not really feeling the effects of it now, if that makes sense. So
so they're not prioritising it, right?
Exactly. So because they're not physically feeling it now, they're not understanding that they actually might then feel it tomorrow. So the consequences of constantly deprioritising yourself, putting your work first, they're not seeing it. So they're like, oh, well, I'm fine today, so it's fine, I don't have to worry about it now, I'll worry about it later. And obviously money is another excuse. So a lot of, there's two sides of money actually. One side is, I can't afford to get help. I can't afford to get a coach, and I can't afford to prioritise, put that kind of thing in my budget so that I can next month get a coach and start working with someone. And the other side is, I don't want to replace making money with doing something for my health, because I've got that next client and I've got a waiting list. And I actually had this for myself. I fell into that trap before, where you kind of say yes to more money and then it ends up putting off you. So that's definitely one of them. And obviously knowledge. So lack of knowledge, not knowing what to do, not knowing where to start. Although there's literally thousands of resources out there nowadays, thousands of coaches, influencers, ChatGPT, you name it. There's so much going on out there that it actually can become more overwhelming. So I do understand that side of things. But again, the money and the knowledge interlink. So it's like, I don't have the knowledge, but I can't afford to invest in knowledge. So then where do you go? The loop just keeps continuing and continuing until again, burnout happens.
I think it's definitely a priority thing as well. From what I just see with clients that I have and my own journey, is it's what do you prioritise? And obviously when you're running a business, there's never any time to do everything, so you have to prioritise. However, what I've realised is when I do get to go out and break my day up and I go to the gym, as you've told me I need to, and what I need to do, I find that actually when I come back I feel so much better, that my creative juices are actually flowing more, right?
100%. And I literally say this to all of my clients when I onboard them, or anyone that I speak to. Just trust me that once you've completed your workout, once you've completed that meal prep, or you didn't go for that fast food and you actually cooked something in your own house, the benefits and the way that you feel is going to be so almost monumental. I mean, I feel the same way. I know that sometimes when I go to the gym, I'm not always excited, and I'm not always running there because, let's be honest, right, it's not realistic. Sometimes it does feel a bit like a chore, and it can feel a bit like my body's tired, I've got so much going on. But actually I know, and I tell myself, once you get there and you leave, you're going to feel amazing. And that's the kind of thing that I need people to, or women to understand, that once you're there and you finish, you're going to be so much more proud compared to keep putting it off. And then once you get to bed and you put your head on the pillow, you're like, oh, didn't do another workout today.
Yeah.
I didn't move my body again today.
Yeah.
And it's like again and again and again.
Well, look, me being an older woman, I know the benefits of leaving it till this time of your life, okay, to do it. And I think that is key. I have so many friends, people around me that I know who have health issues.
Yeah.
Once they hit that kind of 50 mark, things tend to go a bit wrong, okay? And if you're not keeping yourself moving, things deteriorate quickly.
100%.
Hence why I've now prioritised it, because I see the benefits of it, and I've read a lot about it. You've been on to me about it, which is brilliant, okay? So I know the benefits of it. So before we get into how people can mitigate some of those excuses, tell us about you and your journey, because you fit it in, and I know you do a lot. So tell people what you do.
Well, I've been a personal trainer for 7 years now. So I started at a very young age. And I think the reason why I started was, again, seeing my family members who were older than me, of course, and, you know, their issues, and even just the feeling of fatigue quickly, feeling of weakness, especially in the females in my family. You know, like, I'm Turkish, my tradition, it's always the men do the heavy load, the women do the cooking and the cleaning. And, you know, I grew up in that kind of environment where women are smaller, thinner, weaker. And that's one of the reasons why at age 16 I was like, no, do you know what? I want to be strong. I want to be able to lift the heavy boxes, and I want to be able to look after myself. Or when I'm hoovering, when I'm 50, I don't want my back to go. You know? So,
I know that one.
So I'm like, no, I'm going to get there. So my thing was build a foundation.
Yeah.
And you can build a foundation at any point in your life, right? So obviously it can get harder when you grow up, but ultimately whenever you start, you can build a foundation. So I thought, right, I'm going to start mine early. Luckily I did.
Hold on a minute. It can be harder when you grow up.
It is true.
Yeah, because I've grown
It's
up
true.
now. I know, I get it.
It is
You're
true.
absolutely
I say this
right.
all the time. It's never too
I was
late to start.
hoovering.
Yeah.
I was hoovering and my back went. And all I did was twist. And I was like, what's that all about?
Exactly.
Give me a workout to strengthen my back. Right?
And you did that.
Yeah.
So it's never too late to start, but it is harder if
definitely.
you don't start early on, and that's just a fact. So started when I was 16, PT'd loads of women from all different backgrounds, all different sizes, goals, everything that you can imagine. And then I also got a full-time job. So as I'm PTing, I'm also working full-time. So I do a 9 to 5. Now I finally become more of an online coach, so that I can actually have more time to work on my business without having to constantly be present in the gym. Because I found that was the reasons that was causing me to get a burnout, was constantly working. So I was able to then have an online business, which is going really well so far.
Excellent.
So yeah, I work full-time, 9 to 5, literally non-stop. I have a really loving relationship that I'm, you know, doing really well in. Good family life, social life.
So you've got that balance going. So how many times do you go to the gym?
I go 3 times a week.
Excellent.
Yeah, so 2 to 3
so
times
full-time
a week,
job, you're running a business, whether online or not, but what you've done, you've actually done something which is really, really good. You've made your business online so that it gives you more time to do the things you want to do.
Exactly.
Which is something a lot of women don't do. And so what happens is they're juggling all these balls, something has to drop, so what drops? The health.
Exactly.
The health drops.
Which is surprising, right? Because health is wealth. But
right.
Unfortunately it is. And for a long time that was also me. Like, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on it. Like, balance was like a word that I never knew what it even meant. You know, when I was growing up, working 60 hours a week at times, you know. Even when I was studying, I always had a part-time job. I always had clients. So I'd literally wake up, do a 6 a.m. shift at the gym, go and like do my A-levels, come back to the gym, do like 4 or 5 clients back to back. And for a while it worked because I guess, you know, I was younger, I had more energy and I was really ambitious until it got to a point where, I mean, even you speak about this, like, you know, growing your wealth, you need to be more strategic. You can't always be present. So I kind of had to force myself to figure out a way to be present without always having to physically be there. So even
you invested in yourself, right?
Exactly, yeah, of course. So, you know, getting a business coach to teach me how the systems work, and it's all about giving back to health. So even though it feels like it's for the business, which is, of course it is, but the key part is that it allows me to work on my health.
Yes.
So actually being able to say, well, you don't have to stop making more money
Yes.
just to look after your health. Like, two things can mutually exist. You can
Right.
be a really good, successful entrepreneur and look after your health.
Absolutely,
And
100%.
In fact, you need both to be able, it's almost like they kind of ping pong.
Well, they do, because like I said, from a creativity perspective, you need to be able to create new ideas for your business so that you can run it more efficiently, and then also from a fatigue perspective as well. And like I said, as you're getting older, and if you are the sole person running your business and you can't run your business because of health reasons, that's going to have a mitigating effect on your finances, right? Which then causes stress, and it becomes that cycle. Exactly. So what we're trying to do is to get women to avoid the wheel of that cycle.
Yeah.
So tell me some things that these women could do to mitigate. So let's use the excuse of timing.
Yeah.
Okay, so time. I don't have enough time.
Yeah. I mean, firstly, you have 168 hours in a week.
Okay.
So we'll start with that. I go to the gym for about 2 to 3 hours max a week. I don't go there and do hours and hours of training because it's not needed. So I literally limit myself to an hour each time I go to the gym. That includes my warm-up, my strength training and my cool-down. So that's 3 hours out of 168. How many have we got left?
Not a lot, I know.
We've got quite a bit left, right? So that starts with the training. And ultimately with that is I plan ahead. So I know when I'm going to go to the gym. I know that if I've got a client at the gym, I can train with my client. So I kind of try to... I think it's called like habit stacking, where you kind of like do tasks at the same time because it affects increases productivity. So
absolutely.
I try and do that a lot. So if I'm doing online coaching, or if I'm doing programming, I can have my chicken in the air fryer. I'm kind of doing things at the same time so that I can make time.
Absolutely.
If I've already got 65 hours left in the week, obviously minus the sleeping, which we only need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep anyway, so that's not a huge amount. Plus I do a 9 to 5.
Yes, you do.
It's like I have to have a plan.
Yes.
So it starts with having a plan. It's about planning ahead, but also, most importantly, it being your plan and it being a realistic plan.
And something that works for you. So that's what I was going to say, because not everyone wants to go to a gym for various reasons, right? So if you don't want to go to a gym, what can you do then to manage that and still be able to find time to fit that into your lifestyle? Because it has to be a lifestyle, right?
Yeah, I would say 2 things on that. Obviously, if you are struggling to get to a gym, speak to a coach, speak to a PT, because I can sit here and say that doing home workouts is awesome, which they are, and they're really effective, but at one point you will hit a plateau where you will need that progressive overload. Yeah. So whatever it is that is
what's progressive overload for those that don't know?
So progressive overload is pretty much the only way you can get results, is by increasing the intensity gradually. Progressive means obviously gradually, and you're increasing the intensity, so the load. So obviously I talk about strength training a lot. Yeah. If you're not doing strength training right now as a woman, please, like, after this video,
start.
Please start. Like, it is a must for your health, for your longevity. Like, literally, muscle is the most important thing for women. Yeah. But besides that, back to my point.
Finish your point, and then I'll pick up on another point that you just made there. But
so if you are struggling to get to the gym, it is a must at some point. I'm not saying it has to be now, like you have to go and jump out of your comfort zone straight away, but it is something that you need to have a goal of.
So lead up to it.
You have to lead up to it, because the amount of weights, unless you're privileged to have like a big home gym where you have loads of space and you have your own like weights that increase in intensity, you are going to need a gym membership at some point. There's ways around that. I mean, you can get like a off-peak time membership where it's less busier, so if you're an
entrepreneur, you can work your time around what you want to do, exactly. Right? If you're full-time in your business.
Yeah, I made a post about this the other day, and it's like, if you have quit your job to become an entrepreneur full-time, like, you literally, one of the reasons you did that was to be in control of your time. So when I hear entrepreneurs, like CEO women who are running their own businesses, like, oh, I just can't make it, my time. Like, you literally done this for you. Like, you literally didn't want to be controlled by a big company. Yeah. So, you created your own, and now you still can't do it. So
That's a whole nother video.
There's a problem there, but yeah, you had a question, I think, about.
No, so with the muscles, so some women feel that. Well, I used to think that, I don't anymore because I know, but I used to think that the more muscle I'm going to become very muscular, and I don't want to look like masculine or whatever. So
I think if there's one thing you can take away from this video is that you are not going to be bulky as a woman. Like, everyone who thinks about weight training as a woman thinks of like the bikini models that are like on stage with like the extra fake tan, that are doing certain poses and stuff to pop out their muscles. Like, they work extremely hard. The usual. That's their
full-time job.
Exactly. So for you to go to the gym a couple of hours a week, have a nice balanced diet, you're not going to become that unless you want to, and that's your thing. Yeah. Your diet is so much more restrictive and extreme. Like their regime in terms of their workouts is so extreme. Like you can't just become that all of a sudden. I mean,
I'm not going to go to the gym 3 times a week for roughly an hour and become that.
You're not. And I've been working out for about 7 years, pretty much consistently, with a couple breaks here and there, because obviously we do have to listen to our body when it's required. And I'm not bulky. You know, I'm strong. And I'm known to be strong, which is something that I think all women should be kind of want to be known for. You know, like a lot of this. I mean, it's Women's International Month, right?
That's right.
It all leads back to like how are we representing ourselves, you know, and bulky is not there in the picture. You're, by building lean muscle, you're literally increasing your lifespan. Like, you're literally increasing your longevity, and you're mitigating risks of health diseases such as diabetes, obesity, you know, all these different kind of health issues that can arise just from not training.
And at the moment, so people may be thinking, you're, like you said, you're working on their business, it's not going to affect me now, or there's other priorities, or I'm quite thin already.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, because being thin doesn't necessarily mean that you are healthy. I'd like to just point that out. So being thin and could be undernourished most of the time. So it's not about necessarily the size of your waist, it's more of like a body composition. Right. You know, I mean, even like BMI, I won't go into too much detail, but it's not as accurate anymore. Health is, you know, it's changing all the time.
Thank God it's not as accurate.
Yeah, so, you know, if you increase muscle mass and you lower body fat, your BMI and your scale, the scale on the weight can still go kind of up, or even not even go down at all. So you could be losing body fat, which is very, very key. So you don't have to lose weight to lose body fat.
So hold on a minute. So if my scales,
here,
so let's just bring this point back. If my scales isn't going down and I'm working out, and I could be just literally losing body fat still and increasing muscle. Exactly. So I don't need to worry about it.
Exactly.
I love that. Exactly. Permission to still weigh the same.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I haven't weighed myself for so long now, because I look at before and after pictures. So if I have a goal, I always say take a picture of yourself, as uncomfortable as it might seem. You seeing the pictures and is going to show you your progress. And trust me, when you look back, and my clients always do this, they look back and they're like, I can't believe like the difference. But at the beginning they're like, oh, I'm weighing myself every week and it's not going down. I'm like, first of all, don't weigh yourself every week. Like, unless you're like
I used to do that a lot.
Unless you're like a data scientist, which majority of us aren't, and you're literally picking up the data in terms of what time you go to the toilet, when you eat, when you drink water, how much water, like there's just so many, when you're on your period, for example, as women, because hormones, I mean, it's a whole nother topic. But our hormones literally are not always in our favour. So when we think that we might be still weighing the same, it's actually not as simple as that. So try not to look at the scales so much. You can measure, like a measuring tape, for example, that will actually show you when your body composition changes, and obviously the pictures. And I'm not saying don't weigh yourself at all if that is something that helps you to see your progress, but don't be obsessed with the numbers. It's not always accurate.
Not those numbers. Be obsessed with the other numbers, but not these numbers.
Be obsessed with the other numbers. You know, even like how much, like with the progressive overload, how much are you lifting? You know, if that's increasing every week, that means you're getting stronger. It's like, the scale might not show that.
It might not show that. That makes sense.
When
I do like the idea of taking a picture before taking a picture now, and then you start your routine, and then you take another picture. I think that's a nicer way to do it, actually, because you can definitely see changes that way.
And even like with like dresses and things that don't fit, like don't throw them away straight away. If you have like a favourite dress that you're like, I really want to fit back into this, keep it as a way of like a progress check. Because often my clients are like, oh my God, I just fit back into a dress that I couldn't wear for months.
There you go. And that's
a sign of
that is a good sign. That is a good sign. I like that. And then the final one I want to hit is the money. So for some people, they say they can't afford it or they don't have money. And again, to me, it comes down to your budget, it comes down to what you prioritise. If somebody was to say to you today that if you looked after your health for the next year, like consistently, that you would reduce the effect of getting diseases later on in life, I'm sure people would do it, right?
Well, I sit in sales calls sometimes with prospective clients, and it's like, if I can guarantee results for you in 6 months by following the plan that I'm going to set you and the mindset coaching and all the other things that I do, this is the cost of the investment. Yeah. But it's guaranteed, and you're going to look the way that you want to look, and you're going to mitigate those health risks, and a lot of the time it's still not 100% yes. Yeah. It's still
they don't believe or they don't trust the process.
It's almost like the belief of, can I even change because I've been in that position for so long? But also it's almost like the risk of wasting money because of your investment. So which I do understand, like, when you are going to invest your hard-earned money into things, you need to think, thoroughly and make sure you're doing the right thing. Which then brings me to the counterpoint of, like, when you make the list of, like, if I just said to you right now for the next month, make a list of all of the miscellaneous things that you buy, right? The food, the takeaways, the hairdressers, fees, nail shops, lashes, whatever it is that you do externally to make yourself feel better. All these supplements that you think are, you're just overloading on because you think that's just an easy way of doing things. You will start to realise how much they add up. And actually, if you just replace that with a more guaranteed way of and healthy way of getting results,
100%.
You probably be like, actually, I can afford this. Yeah. But it's all about, like you said, prioritising it within your budget and actually setting it aside. And
that's what it is. It is the budget, because I know with a lot of my clients, and they hear me say this all the time, the amount that they spend on software, for example, right? Because, you want the latest this, the latest that, and we want to be able to do things more efficiently, and I get it, but a lot of it isn't even used, right? It's like, it's the latest fad, I'm going to get it. But if you're intentional about your health, and if you know that you cannot do it on yourself, then it's important that you then put that money in your budget. And if it's not in your budget, then at least put it in your financial plan. Totally understand if you've got debts and other things that are more priority, but it should be somewhere high on your financial plan. Because let's be honest, health is wealth, right?
And also, just to add to that as well, like, if you are suffering with, debt and things like that, which are increasing stress. Like, I can't emphasize enough how much being on your health routine
cortisol levels and
impacts your mental health. Like, that can't be skipped on the fact that if you actually are suffering with certain issues at the moment, or you're in a low position, you investing back into your health is going to make everything else be affected. So it is a dominoes effect. It's not just like, if you look better, first of all, you walk and talk differently. I've learned that.
Absolutely.
Like, when you walk into
100%.
Different rooms as an entrepreneur, you're more confident, and we all know that confidence is a big part of networking and putting yourself out there. So ultimately, yes, you're investing a small amount of money to start with, but that's going to help with your mental health, your body confidence, how you feel about yourself, and how much you are more comfortable to put yourself out there. So actually, in turn, you're bringing back into your business. The same way where you might hire a software person or a admin or whatever it might be, you're investing into your business. And it's the same with hiring a coach. It's the same with a business coach. If you have a health coach,
exactly the same.
You're literally bringing back more business into your business, because
what I would say is this. I would say if you really feel that you haven't got any extra money, and that's very true for a lot of people, especially in this climate. So then you tell me, what is the things that they could do initially to just start that they don't have to pay for? Like, for example, you said, could you just buy a few? I've got a kettlebell here. I mean, it's no longer heavy enough for me, but I've got I think it's 5 kg. So what, and how much would that cost roughly? Do you know? I don't know if you even know.
I think firstly, walking.
Yes.
I think walking is free.
Actually, you don't even need a kettlebell. You've got bags of flour or bottles.
Exactly. And if we go back to COVID,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If we go back to COVID, we actually didn't have any gyms.
Yeah.
And I actually was able to still train a lot of women throughout that time, which was a difficult time for everyone. Yeah, online, on Zoom. And I mean, it all started with walking, right? So just a quick tip as well, after you've had food, literally 10-15 minutes of walking will help your muscles take up that glucose, excess glucose in the bloodstream. So literally by just walking 10-15 minutes a day, you're already doing something positive for your health, which is free. And
so we can all do that. We can all start somewhere.
We can all literally start as minute as that.
And then as your budget is coming into play, or your debt, if you've got debt, is coming down, then that should be next on your financial plan.
Exactly, like you said, rice bags. Yeah. My clients used to fill up water bottles.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Like I'm saying, if it's really to the point where you don't want to even have like purchased any dumbbells, because from COVID the prices haven't come down, so they went up during COVID because obviously there was a high demand, so they actually haven't come down yet. But you can get a set of dumbbells for about 20 to 30 quid.
Okay.
And they're an investment because you're always going to be able to have them as long as you store them. Yeah. It's not like they're going to expire.
Exactly.
Or it's just always going to be there. So I'd 100% say if you can't get to the gym at the moment, or you can't, get a coach, whatever it might be, start with some home workouts. And there's obviously loads online at the moment. You can also follow my page on Transform with Hatty on Instagram, where I share some home workouts. And
I'll put that in the description.
Literally can be with anything, as long as your form is good, which is why I would say with weight training it is a bit more intricate because you have to make sure your form is correct. So make sure that before you start, you are watching videos, or you're talking to people who might be able to give you some free knowledge. But yeah, start with the walk-in, start with filling up your water bottles, using whatever heavy items you have in your household, and then if you can, purchase a couple home weights.
So no excuse if you're watching this and you know that you need to be doing this and you're finding all these excuses, and we only really talked about the main two. Okay, there's so many other excuses that people use, but what we used to do is go and follow Transform with Hatty on Instagram, where she shares more tips, and maybe just book in with a call just to get some more ideas or what you can do. But definitely everyone can start with, after you've had your meal, go for that walk, go for that 15-minute walk, or increase it to half an hour as you can, increase it to an hour. And if you want some weights, fill up the water bottles or go and purchase some dumbbells. But ultimately, that's just to start. That's not it. Then you want to increase, because I know for a fact when I started going to the gym, Hatty had to come with me to make sure that I'm using the right form when I'm lifting weights and so forth, and using some of those machines. And I felt comfortable with her because she's a woman and she's not them bulky men at the gym that I might get a bit intimidated. Me get intimidated? No, that's not happening. Right, leave us with one thing, just one thing that you want to say to a female entrepreneur who's really procrastinating. Just one tip before we leave.
I would say that burnout is closer than you think it is, and it will catch on to you. And if it catches on to you, it will leave a stain. You need to avoid it. Get the help, and just investing back into your health is going to radiate in so many different aspects of your life. So don't just think that it's just one thing. Think of it as, if I'm giving back to me, I'm giving back to my family, my health, my social life, and
my business.
Which
means your finances.
Exactly. So it all starts with that, and you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Right. So, gosh, someone said that today. Literally, I read that today. And I sent back, I used to have a plaque that my mum gave me. So I'm going to end with this. I had a plaque that my mum gave me, which was from Jamaica. And it means the same thing. And it says, empty barrel can't stand up. Right?
There you go.
So it means the same thing. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Listen, please hit that notification bell so you know when the videos go live. Subscribe, and share. Female empowerment in this March 2025. Let's do this. Take care, guys. See you soon.